these days it's very hard to come up in wrestling terms, come up with something very unique and something that's never been done before, because everything you see is recycled storylines, right? That's happened before, because what's old is new, what's new is old. I feel like that was something very unique at the time, and we didn't know how big it was going to be, but they gave us the ball for a little bit and we just ran with it, and it was definitely one of my favorite parts of my career for sure.
I just love the attack, and you beat up Justin Roberts, and then you beat up Cena. You hit the 450. I mean, it was just so cool. You tear up the ring, you tear up everything, and I just love how that whole thing went down. So before you guys kind of go out there, did they say anything to you, just tear everything up, or they gave you specific instructions?
No, Vince called us into his office. No one actually else knew about it, just him. He calls in his office and he goes, "Listen, this is what I want you guys to do." And we're like, okay. And he's like, "Yeah, I want you to cut the ring up. There'll be scissors somewhere. We were like, can we get fired? He's like, just beat everything up. If there's a security guard, I want you to rip your suit off. I'll pay for it." He goes, "Just do whatever you guys can. Just cause damage. I'll pay for it." And we were like, okay. Which is ironic, because when Daniel Bryan did the choke tie, he got fired for that, which now somehow I think it was part of the plan all along, without us knowing. But we kind of just followed his instructions. He pulled us into his office, which we haven't had much interaction with him up until that point. And he's like, "This is what we're gonna do," and we're like, "Okay, whatever." I mean, he's the boss. He's a self-made billionaire, he made that company into what it was. We couldn't really vision it. I couldn't visualize it in the beginning, but after he said it, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm just going to run with this and see what happens. And yeah, it got a great response. I love that obviously that run got cut short, but that was the most crazy time in my life. I remember walking out to the ring before, 10 seconds before Raw was going to go live on the air, and you can just feel the energy and the rumbling in the stadium, every single arena that we went into. Yeah, that was crazy. Even the camera guys and those guys that you never see on TV, the lighting guys, the crew guys that you never see. A lot of those guys have been there for 20, 30. There's a guy that's been there for 35 years. And those guys all came up to us and were like, "Wow, that was the coolest thing I've seen since I've worked here." And that made us feel good.
It was definitely so different, especially so unique. Did you guys, when they call you to Raw that day even before you meet with Vince, did you have any idea what the plan was for you guys, or did you really have no idea that you guys were going to basically form a team?
Yeah, no idea. Literally, NXT season 1 ended, and we were in, I think it was Miami, right? Yeah, it was in Miami, and all of us lived in Tampa at that time, so we literally thought, this is going to be our last show, and we're going to go back to developmental. And that was it for us. That's what we thought until we got called into the office.
I love kind of the way it all goes down, and obviously the unpredictability of it. It helps, and the stuff you hadn't seen before was just tearing everything apart. And then on top of it, you beat up Punk, but Cena was the number one guy at that point. So it's kind of you beat up him, and you kind of elevate yourself into that main event level. Were you shocked? Wow, not only we're here at Raw, okay, we just know Vince are beating up everybody. Okay, we're beating up John Cena, the face of the company. Now we're basically in the main event.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. A lot of us had different interactions and with Cena at the time, but we didn't focus too much on I didn't anyway. I don't know what the other guys thought, but I was just okay, cool. They're inserting us here just to make an impact because, like you said, he was the number one guy at the time. And I was like, okay, this is how people are going to get talking. And then maybe they're just going to throw us into something else. That was my initial thoughts. But then, obviously we built a storyline with him. And on the live events for months, I wrestled him every night. And that's when it actually kicked in for me. I was like, oh, man, I'm looking at main events right now. This is sick.
That is awesome. Whether you're winning or losing, but you're still working main events with John Cena. That's pretty cool. Did you feel a little bit, maybe a little tinge or a little bit of pressure that you're out there in the main event with? I did, oftentimes. But a lot of those, like I said, 80% of those shows were live events, so it wasn't televised. And not to blow my own horn, but I was probably one of the stronger wrestlers, performers in ring
performers in the group, so they always had me do the matches. You know, like obviously if it was like a promo segment, it was always Wade, and you know everyone had their point. And not that anyone's a bad wrestler, but I could have a good match with literally anyone on the roster. So they always put me in that position, which I was flattered too. But I was kind of like taken back, and I was kind of like not shy, but I was like not sure like how far I could push it and what suggestions I could make to him and stuff like that. But you know, it was a great time in my life, and I learned a lot from it, and I learned a lot from him. People didn't realize how good he really is. That's why he was the number one guy, whether you love him or hate him. You know, like he's just so good at what he does.
He certainly knows what he's doing. He certainly knows how to get the crowd invested. He knows how to, whether you hate him or you're booing him or you're loving him. He definitely got the crowd invested. I don't know if you'll remember this or not. When we talked to Heath Slater, he actually remembered it vividly, which was pretty cool. I was at an MSG house show basically in the summer, right before summertime. It's like when you guys were really hot and really heating up, and you guys actually came out through the crowd. But it was so interesting because MSG was almost like at a gas, like, they were like shocked, and then they went into like hyper energy mode where everyone was like, this is awesome. I believe you beat up Sheamus and Cena that night. Do you remember that night at MSG, that summer?
I remember vividly. I don't remember who we beat up, but it's funny you said that. Now I remember, but I remember us sneaking into an ambulance too, because MSG is all the fans kind of like get together where everyone parks and everyone comes in, so that's how they know who's on the show. But they actually snuck us into an ambulance so no one would know we were there. And so when we did come out, that's why everyone was just like so shocked, and the whole place kind of like went into shock. And then, like you said, like just rambling. It was a pretty surreal feeling. And I remember it for many different reasons, because we snuck in with the ambulance, because we sat in this little room until our segment was up. And I also remember the big paychecks we got. I was like, oh man, this is like what the MSG paycheck looks like.
That is great, because not that MSU was struggling or anything. I mean, there's always like a hotbed for WB, but at that point, I would go to a bunch of shows at MSU. It was like, okay, some crowds are good, some crowds are bad, but that show sold out, and it was crazy, and there was such a fever pitch. Almost we were like kind of like waiting for you guys to show up. Then when you showed up, people were shocked, and then they just went crazy. It was so cool. It was so different, and you didn't see that a lot, especially at house shows. It almost had like a live TV kind of feel to it.
It did. And I feel like that whole run of us was kind of like that. Like we were selling out buildings, like we were just like people were just like the energy was crazy. Like I've been into a lot of big matches where The Rock was and Austin and all those guys and like Manias and stuff like that. But that run we had, but maybe it was just because I was in the ring and part of it. But like it was surreal. Like crowds were just like crazy, whether they loved us or hate us. It was just like you could feel the energy in the building. And as performers, that's what we feed off of. So it was that energy, and it was just surreal. I'll never forget that.
Now, that is so positive, but I do have to bring up a negative, and all of your kind of counterparts agreed with me on this. SummerSlam that year, 7-on-7, you guys should have won that match. Why the hell did the Nexus lose? They were so hot. It almost kind of killed the golden, the goose that laid the golden egg there.
It did, 100%, and everyone involved in that also realized that afterwards that, we were just too young. We were rookies. We should have fought for that, and like politics or whatever the word is you want to use here, but we should have like trying to, go without that feeling. The people just thought we were arrogant when we suggested it, and even Edge and Jericho, they were like, no, man, like this is the way it's supposed to go, and doesn't say their names, but there was one person who had to get it go the other way, and that just completely killed our momentum.
I still like look back and it's like, man, if they won that match, where do they go from there? It's like one of those things. It's like, why did they lose? It's so simple of the booking. The heels should have won and got on. And they just kind of build themselves up. You think that that's one of the things that kind of not killed Nexus, because obviously we'd still keep going and have a little bit of a shelf life left. But you think that was kind of the thing that kind of killed that juice or that energy that you guys had built up so greatly?
Yes, totally. I think that, and everyone else is part of that match, and everyone that's part of the company, and even the guy that had it changed. Even he the next day was like, "Man, I'm sorry. This is the way we should have done it." Like everyone involved knew that was wrong. But we cannot go back now. It's a done deal.
And they do, they do kind of keep Nexus going for a little bit longer. But I mean, damn, that was something. Just as a fan, you're just like, man, they missed something there. They dropped the ball on that. I mean, you and Heath Slater, you guys do go on and win the tag titles, obviously more than once, 3-time tag champs, and you guys do kind of get a little bit of a push. But it's one of those things where can you ever kind of come back from that, or does it take a while after a devastating loss like that?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, if we had won different, maybe we would have made it to WrestleMania. I mean, Nexus didn't even have a Mania moment. That's how short of a run it was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was less than a year, And that's what makes me sad, really. Like, even if we just had, like, a Mania moment and there was a payoff at Mania, and then all that other stuff could have gone down. But that's what makes me the saddest. But, yeah, it was one of those things, And, I mean, it wasn't the first time in wrestling that happened, and I'm sure it'll happen again.
That is very, very true. And eventually, you do different things, obviously, the Nexus. Then they kind of try to create lightning in a bottle with the Corre, with you, Heath Slater, Ezekiel Jackson, and Wade Barrett. Did you kind of feel at that point it's like, they're almost trying to recreate something you can't recreate?
Yes, I did. And that's why it also came off like that on TV, because all of us thought that. Like sometimes, it's like this. If someone's having fun in the ring, like people can feel it. Whether you know it or notice it immediately, you can feel it, So, and that's how we get emotionally invested into matches too. Because if the performers are into it, people will be into it. They won't know why. They were just like, wow, I'm so intrigued and so attached to this. And I feel like all of us kind of knew that in the back of our mind. We're like, so that's why that didn't come off too good. I mean, so we still had a decent run and like a lot of airtime and stuff like that. But we had no direction to, like, they were just like, here, you 4 guys are a group now. These was like Nexus were like, this, you guys are kind of killers, you guys are like angry, you're pissed off. There was a lot of direction given to us. Cole was kind of just thrown together and was like, here you go, you guys are just a team, just do whatever. And like the next day they're like, you guys should have done this and this, and like, well, why didn't you guys tell us any of that? Like it would be nice to have a little bit of direction. We could have done the best with it that we could, but it is what it is.